Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Maybe you could just kick off with a brief introduction. Where can fans find Joe Goldberg in this beginning of season four? And of course, it's in a complete different location, quite a different format. What can viewers expect?
So yeah, there is a bit of a genre change, and of course the location change, which is enough in the beginning, I think, just to see how do we take this singular character, Joe, put him in no longer in like a romance thriller, but a genuine whodunit. Uh, what does that look and feel like, and how is he going to? I mean, what's cool is that he's able to grapple directly with that in this sort of fourth wall breaking with the narration. I mean, he is talking about how much he hates whodunits and that he feels as though he's trapped in one. And so that's it's almost like rather than turning his ire and his criticism on the people around him, he's doing it in the genre he finds himself in the predicament he finds himself in, which is cool. And then as far as being in London, I mean, if there was ever a place that Joe could find happiness, it would be London. But of course, Joe can't find happiness. Certainly not because of a place. But it was a joy to shoot there.
And I love the fact that it does really lean into kind of the differences in culture between Americans and Brits. It's very much sending up kind of British culture in terms of our class system, the difference between Gen Zs and the millennials, and that irreverent humor that we've known from the series before really cuts through, particularly in this British way. What was it like kind of, performing this dialogue and acting with all these British actors?
Yeah, I do think that in some way the show has. Yeah, I don't know that it's British, I do think it has a certain dry wit wryness to it that that feels a bit English. And I think I remember conversations with Charlotte Ritchie, uh, who is very British in her humor, saying that there was an aspect of maybe what I brought to Joe, or just something that felt a little bit British. And so, originally Joe was off to Paris, and I think there was a time where the writers were trying to figure that out, and we were not thinking of London at all. But it feels far more fitting for him somehow because I loved being surrounded by by the culture and people and how that was influencing the show in front of camera and behind it personally. So, I mean, it was probably the best way to try and reinvent a concept that I think is hard to reinvent. I mean, of course, we managed to do it every season in a way that I think is quite satisfying, but it needed this distinct change that comes from London, probably.
Mm. And it's such a complex character to have to carry through four seasons. And you seem to always get that balancing act between kind of humanizing him, but of course, kind of revealing his darker aspects. Do you try and rationalize his behavior? And how do you carry that character through? And will he ever see any kind of redemption, do you think?
I don't really try to rationalize his behavior. I mean, sure, parts of me have to think about that, like as I'm approaching it all. But when I'm playing him, I actually don't try to rationalize anything. I just sort of believe it. It's like skipping past the rationale, and just being like, oh, this is true. This is what I'm doing, you know? Um, and in terms of redemption, I think that is a very big question because who gets to decide who is deserving of redemption? I think it's a very, very, it's a metaphysical or moral or philosophical or even spiritual or religious question, really, that people have grappled with for ages. I think, practically speaking, someone like Joe is not going to discover it in this life. I don't think that's going to happen for him. He's not capable of the change that would be required. He's just. I do think he's too far gone.
Mm. Do you think we'll see another season, or can you tell us what you might be working on next after this?
I can't say whether or not we're gonna have another season. It does feel like it's headed towards some great conclusion, but I really don't know.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Can't wait for everyone else to get stuck into season four of you. Thanks so much.